Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Heavy PED accusations flying around this morning. Heavy.
A lot.
I think what we just saw was the what did Mark McGwire put in his locker?
What, Andro?
Yeah. We saw
that was totally legal, by the way. Totally legal, by the way.
It was legal. It was
by
legal.
The way.
Yeah, that's why he wanted you to see it, because he was sticking Trent up his butt. But young Joseph here is just every episode the stash gets bigger, it gets darker, it gets thicker, it covers up more of his face, and Joe's in his mustache era, and this is. To my knowledge, Joe, this is not like a no shave November thing. This is not like this is just who you are now.
I've always been this.
No, it's just Joe is in his Don Quixote era right now. I mean, it is, Joe. It's looking Keonjo. It is looking as strong as it's ever looked. That's where the PED accusations came from. Was really not anything physical. It was as strong as the mustache is.
I'm hiding the muscles.
This is what 22, 23, 24. We're approaching season 4 with Joe, and we've never seen the mustache game this strong. So he held up a bottle of creatine and said that he was taking some creatine. I was like, I think that you're just on copious amounts of testosterone. Like I feel like that his voice is getting deeper, the mustache is getting darker. It's kind of hard to deny. I mean, I'm not trying to get sued or anything with the accusations, but I'm just saying based on my personal experience, seems like, you
got a lot of it.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe, it does feel like there's some, like, I'm not even sure what kind of animal this is. Like, this could be some super black market. Like, is this polar bear test? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Where the hair is growing in like this. Remember, well, I believe a polar bear's fur is black underneath.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it stands to reason that the sprouting and the richness, I'm not a biologist, Joe.
No, man, it's all genetics. Cold shower. Sauna.
Shout out to
sauna, cold shower.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you're doing, it's working. I mean, you're not like competing in the mustache Olympics. So it's like, you're not cheating or anything. I'm just saying that whatever you're doing, keep it up. It's great.
Thank you.
Before we came on, I haven't listened to it, so we're all getting the reaction in real time. And I was surprised to learn, because I mean, we haven't really heard a ton about Corbin Burnes' market, really. We had that tweet that I thought was fake. Joe says it's real. We still haven't made a determination. Is that real or fake? We don't know.
You're the only one who said it was fake.
No, like, someone tweeted me when I reacted to because we talked about it on the podcast. Someone
tweeted me, said it was fake. That's one person. So that's one person. That guy who tweeted you thinks it's fake. So whoever that is,
I mean,
very influential opinion.
Let's just say it's still undetermined. We don't know if it's real or fake. We don't know.
The only way we know if you call Elon Musk right now.
He don't know. I don't think.
There's no blue check mark, so we don't know for sure.
Yeah, Corbin Burnes doesn't strike me as a guy who'd pay for Twitter, but we haven't heard a ton about his market. I know, like, the Red Sox were linked to him, but like every Red Sox are linked to everyone. I don't think that the Red Sox are going to sign Corbin Burnes. But John Morosi was on MLB Network and mentioned a team linked to Corbin Burnes that I was very surprised to hear. Maybe some folks won't be surprised. I don't know, but I was surprised. Here's a quote.
Truth to the rumors that Corbin Burnes is between two teams has narrowed it down, or not so much? Not yet.
I think, Lauren, there are two teams that stand above the others. Those are the Baltimore Orioles and the Los Angeles Dodgers. But I was told by a source within the last 12 hours or so that nothing is getting finalized yet. He is still having broad interest around the major leagues right now in Corbin Burnes. And I think, Lauren, that he could sign independent of wherever Juan Soto signs. I don't look at there being as much overlap between those two places, because when you consider the Burnes market and the Soto market, I agree with what H said off the top about how the Mets are really, I think, one of the key drivers in the Soto market, and they're not so much involved in Burnes. So I think, yes, Orioles and Dodgers, the leading candidates there on Burnes, but by no means is this a two-team race.
So is anyone else as surprised as I am to hear that the Orioles are in the mix for Corbin Burnes. I know they have new ownership, and we kind of theorized,
Right.
Maybe things would be different under this new ownership. But this is the first I'm hearing that the Orioles are actually in on Corbin Burnes.
I think there's a lot to unpack there, honestly. Like, to think that a guy who will demand and command the market that Corbin Burnes potentially can would already have his market narrowed down to this slim of a field, I think is surprising. And I think for good reason, because what the market could potentially offer. You mean that everybody who might even, if you're somebody who's even had the thought or the dream at night of Juan Soto, doesn't Corbin Burnes potentially factor into your game plan as well? Like, he's that good of a talent, he can help you. And so I just find that, I find that weird or very interesting that it would already be narrowed down to just two teams, because we do understand that there's probably still just a smaller pool of teams who would be in that race for a Corbin Burnes. But with that being said, to have it already down to two, and one of them being a team that has already experienced the Corbin Burnes experience, but to the point of new ownership, right? And now you're not necessarily having those same conversations. Those are different.
I will say, I know he's talked a long time. He did say in the video that it's not a 2-team race, that they're the two favorites.
So he said not to limit it to those two teams.
Not to limit it to those two teams.
Because, I mean, I agree. It is weird to have just two teams, especially these two teams are very polar opposites in the way they spend.
Sure.
Like, if you were, I mean, this is time of the offseason where everything's a fucking trick and a psyop, or they're like telling you, like, this guy's going to go to a meeting here, and like they're all just trying to trick you to get one team pay more. So, everything seems like bullshit to me. But also, it just seems like using the Orioles as a team, like, yo, they're going to pay a fuck ton, is like not really.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. Is it really the Dodgers leveraging, or like who's leveraging the Orioles as a real competitor?
I don't think we know. I think that's part of what makes it, and you guys alluded to this, I don't think we know how the Orioles are going to behave. We know how they used to behave, and we know we can make assumptions that they're not going to fundamentally change how they approach things, but maybe they could. There's nothing, I mean, this guy, Rubenstein, is wealthy enough to pay $200 million for a pitcher if that's how he wants to operate. This team doesn't need to operate as a small or lower mid-market team. But I also, like, the other side of this is, I don't remember a free agent at this level of the Corbin Burnes, first or second best pitcher available in a given offseason, generally viewed as an ace. I don't remember a guy that I felt this conflicted about in terms of whether a team should be plopping down the $200 million that it's going to take, or whatever more than that it's going to take to sign Corbin Burnes. And I'm even more conflicted when you throw when you throw the Orioles as a team that's in the mix on them, because you have a long history of not investing in the product. You have a core that is ready to be a competitive team, and Corbin Burnes, or an ace-like pitcher, is a necessary ingredient of that team continuing to build forward and get to the World Series that this core wants to get to. On the same end, like, there are lots of alarming trends as far as Corbin Burnes' pitching goes. And I know that, it's easy to point to the strikeout rate decline and be like, well, that's intentional. He's throwing more cutters and he's looking to induce more weak contact. And that all may be true, and it may persist. But the number of pitchers who have lost 12% off of their strikeout rate in the span of 3 years, to the point of going from the best strikeout rate in the league to 23% this past year. And it's year after year that he's losing 5% almost a year off of his strikeout rate. And yes, maybe the contact cutter heavy approach will work for 2 or 3 years, but we're talking about a $200 million investment here. And at the same time, I wouldn't want, if I'm the Orioles fan, I wouldn't necessarily want my team to point to a declining strikeout rate and be like, that's why we're not going to spend the money. We're going to patch it with affordable things, because he is really good. I don't know. Corbin Burnes tears me up inside, and this free agency tears me up inside.
Because he's still effective at the end of the day.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it's still
Exactly
top 5 pitcher.
Yeah, like
it's still a top 5 pitcher.
I'm also just as conflicted as Jay here, because I mean, for me, having a team that is linked to him, like, I don't think that we're the favorite. I don't even think that we're top 3. But my concerns kind of echo what Jay is saying, just in a general sense. that a $200 million investment is, I guess, like relative to other pitchers is almost like a second tier, which before we're not even 10 years removed from 217 being the largest contract ever given to a pitcher. And now like $200 million for a pitcher is kind of like, yeah, you're in that B tier. Like you're pretty damn good, but you're not like, one of the best in baseball, So I look at it as, yes, you look at Corbin Burnes as a pitcher that if he's on your team, he's probably your ace, more than likely. I guess it all depends on which team he's going to. If he goes to the Dodgers, he's not the game one guy. Certainly not the Yankees either, but they should be linked to him. I feel like they should be in the market for him, especially if they lose out on Juan Soto. I feel like that's the pivot plan, right? Because look at what did them in basically in the playoffs. It wasn't so much the offense. It was we have fucking Garrett Cole, and then what?
I think what Corbin Burnes represents is somebody who, if you're going to see the declining dominance factor, the declining swing and miss, the declining punch out rate, if you're going to see that, is there something that makes you okay? Is there something that allows you to digest that? Or is that such a telling figure, such a striking graphic for you that you're like, you know what? I can't do it. Or is the fact that Corbin Burnes over the last 3 years, 4 years, 3 years, 200 innings, 193 innings, 194 innings, and the value of somebody being able to give you that sort of consistent work is that something that allows the declining strikeout rate to be digestible, where, okay, it might not be in the fashion that it was in prior, but in terms of what we're going to get consistently, if we can surround him and put him in a position where the defense behind him is stellar, and we know that this guy is probably going to continue to trend towards more contact, and maybe it's continuing to be weak contact. And so are you okay with a guy who's going to give you 195 innings over the next 5 years and look, I don't know if the decline, I mean, I always laugh at all the golfing tools and shit, right? Because if you take the driver that's going to do this for you and you do these drills and you use this, you're going to increase your drive distance by, well, if I put the math together, by 1,000 yards. It's fucking impossible. I'm going to be able to do that. But is he going to be able to still pitch? What's the strikeout rate look like in 5 years? Does it continue to decline at 5% a clip? And if so, he might as well just ask them to throw it up and hit it themselves, because he ain't getting anybody to swing and miss. But I think
I've got 2 points.
I think a team that can support him is going to be in this.
Piggybacking off what Dallas just said, is he going to become the pitcher to contact guy? First thing that came to mind was Max Fried is a guy that is a ball on the ground type of pitcher who's also projected to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 million. And no one is talking about his strikeout numbers. They're just saying, he gets outs. He's a frontline guy. Second is there any thought to there being another organization out there that's familiar with Corbin Burnes' work that is saying we can get him back to being the strikeout guy? We're not really worried about that because we can tinker with this and that. And then, he's already good as is, but we can get him back to being an 11 strikeouts per 9 type pitcher.
Yes, there are. Yeah, I think there's plenty of organizations
Dodgers
out there
are probably the best chance of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers can do that.
The Dodgers.
Mm-hmm. The Dodgers. I think what you have to understand and what you have to be able to factor in, and maybe not everybody has the insight or the inside info, but are these teams that are like pitching lab friendly, pitching development friendly. And what I mean by that is if you come in with an idea and you present that to the brain trust, are they receptive to that? Is this a situation where your intuition as a player and your feel supported by the data that you've brought to the table is all going to just be thrown out the window and you're going to be told that this is how you're going to do it? Like, that's a very real factor. That's a very real variable in this decision-making process. So you have to be somebody who, I think, if you're Corbin Burnes and you believe this is going to really impact you moving forward, because here's the question. How old is Corbin Burnes? 30. Is he 30? 31? Yeah. He's 30?
Yeah.
So you got to believe the next 5-6 years, like, this is your nut, right? This is it. Get paid.
He's 30.
I mean, we're not
He will
talking
be
about
30.
we're not talking about him going to a place where he can then develop and you know what I'm getting at here?
He
Like, this
won't turn
is-
31 till the World Series. So he's 30 for the whole year.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, this is going to be the big deal right here.
I just, whatever his number comes in at, I'm going to feel much more comfortable if the number is Aaron Nola-like than if it is Steven Strasburg-like. I see this. I see Corbin Burnes moving forward. It doesn't really matter what he did in 2020 and 2021. What matters is what is he going to do moving forward. And to me, the underlying stats, not just strikeout rate, you could look at FIP, you could look at xERA, really any sort of semi-predictive ERA complementer. And it was 3.81 last season, and it was 3.55 this season. That's very good. That's somebody you want on your team. That's not $250 million for me. That's Aaron Nola. That really is Aaron Nola. And I get that he's going to get more money. But that to me is how I would look at him moving forward more than we're adding a Garrett Cole to the top of our rotation in his prime or something.
So then now would Corbin Burnes be a good, would he be a good focal point for the conversation that we've been having, that I've been having about the market being driven down on players and the industry starting to and continuing to try to trend away from paying guys for what they have done? Because I just outlined 3-4 seasons worth of work that could potentially make you okay with the decline of the statistics that Jay has outlined. So does this now become a case study in whether or not teams are going to say, thank you for your service, that was impressive, but here's why we do not think. I'm
If
asking
he
the
signs for
questions-
$200 million,
Mhm.
is the answer to your question that you're posing right now, yes or no? If he gets $200 million, let's just call it even 200. Is that a reflection of the market being driven down on him, or is that an accurate reflection of what Corbin Burnes should be getting in a free market? Because I know how I feel, and doesn't mean it's right, but I know how I would answer the question.
Before Dallas answers, my thing is, I think, like, if this would have been like a decade ago, he probably would have got paid per way more than he would today, just because of those stats you're talking about that are becoming more. They're not looking at your ERA and innings pitched. They're looking at the underlying shit.
And that to me is less. I fully understand the point, like the phenomenon Dallas is talking about. That to me is more about teams just getting smarter in general, as opposed to trying to drive a market on starting pitching, which is like I think exists. But if Corbin Burnes gets $200 million, and I'm looking at the history of the highest salaried pitchers in Major League Baseball history, that doesn't feel like he's getting a bum deal to me. It feels like that's an accurate reflection of Corbin Burnes at the time he hit free agency. Like, that's the other thing. You can go back and be like, oh, well, this guy got this guy got this. Well, some of these guys were coming off of Cy Young season. Like, David Price got $217 million. Zach Greinke got $206.5 million. Like, A, those guys were better pitchers than Corbin Burnes at the time they hit the market. And B, to Joey's point, a little bit of a different time too. Like, I think this is, I think he's going to get his money. I just have concerns personally about if the team is signing him to be a true one, what does that look like in 2 years?
And that's why I asked, and that's why I posed the question of this being a case study, because my answer is, I believe that, and I do genuinely believe that this could very well be the example of where we're at in the industry. This could be the thermometer. Corbin Burnes and his contract could be the thermometer that gives us a reading on where the industry is in regard to the question I am asking. Because I believe you, Jay, and I am with you. And Joey, to your point, the base level of compensation / performance has reached a level where this would reflect Corbin Burnes being fairly compensated. That being said, it's also that moment in time where teams could very well say, we could have had that conversation 3 years ago, but now what we have watched unfold and across the board, this is something that teams are valuing. So there's no there's a collusion. There's no intentional driving of the market down. There has to be some intent behind it because you're intentionally doing good business. You're intentionally trying to put yourself in a good position as an organization, which means staying away from bad contracts that are heavily loaded towards the back end of poor performing, aging stars. And you're done with that. So this could very well be that moment where they're saying, you know what? Hey, maybe we've got some incentives here where if you want to get married and we are telling you that we can feel like we can give you some more swing and miss and put some more pep in your step, well, then you know what? Give us the opportunity. And if you hit these marks, then you know what? You'll be compensated for it and you can make your money.
And I think the industry has spoken pretty clearly about willingness to invest long-term at high dollars for position players and what their comfort level is as it relates to pitchers with that, because the position player contracts are doing a much better job of tracking with inflation, we'll call it, or whatever, contract inflation. Like you look at what A-Rod got, you look at what Trout got, you look at what Judge got, Ohtani, Soto's going to reset it in his own way. Like that, the highest contract keeps increasing. That's, as we know, not so much the case with pitching. Obviously, the two biggest ever are Yamamoto and Cole, who are relatively recent. But I think those are more, particularly as we move forward, given all the factors we're talking about with starting pitching, I don't know that we really ever see a Garrett Cole or Yamamoto's will happen because of the dynamic with the Nippon League. But like Garrett Cole's probably the best pitcher to reach free agency since
in a long time. In a long time.
Randy Johnson, maybe like.
To just go out on the market.
I'm trying to think. Like, please tell me if I'm wrong.
Greinke.
No, I don't. I mean, respectfully, I don't think Greinke was better at the time he reached free agency. Maybe he was, but like to me, like Garrett Cole is almost like a white whale in terms of when he hit free agency in his career, what his track record, what his immediate season entering free agency was. That the Yankees needed exactly Garrett Cole at the time that he hit free agency. Like, I just don't think we're not advancing the pitcher contracts in the same way. Like all the examples we just cited about $200 million contracts, like Max Scherzer got $210 million. It was 9 seasons ago. You know what I mean? Like we've kind of gotten capped out, I feel like, on this type of pitcher and what they're going to get.
The arms are falling off.
I think it's also an interesting conversation why the pitcher market has maybe not tracked with inflation the way the position player market has. And is it because the stars and Jay, you know what, before I even go, let me hear what you have to say on that. What do you
I think it's because of all the stuff that you and all of us have talked about. It's that these starters are going less and less into games. They're less durable. And people like, if the top free agent pitcher is going to be a guy who gives you 5 2/3 or 6 innings pitched with a 3.3 or 3.5 ERA, in part because there have been better free agent starting pitchers, but mostly because of trends within the industry, then it is a self-fulfilling cycle. It is like, well, this is the best guy to get there. It's like, well, nobody else is allowed or conditioned or trained to go 7 or 8 innings. So we're never going to get that other guy.
I like that first word you used.
Conditioned.
Nobody's what?
Conditioned. Trained. What did I say first? I've lost track.
Allowed.
Allowed. That was
allowed.
I named all the other words.
Now that might seem like a small minor detail, but it's not. And it's not lost on me. And it's not lost on guys who are not allowed to extend themselves. It's not lost on me or aging, washed up guys who watch guys not be allowed to go deeper into ball games. And you're trying to acknowledge that that's real and also ignore that has anything to do with compensation. And that's the driving of a market that I talk about. This is an industry that has intentionally driven down that aspect of the market. I don't have to pay you if you can't perform that way. And if there's going to be one of you guys that's going to grow up and have a horn sticking out of your forehead, great, I'll pay you, because there's only one of you every 10 years that's going to come across that I think I'm going to have to pay that way if that's the case, because otherwise we're going to get the industry to a point where we're going to identify some of the outlying statistics that are trending negatively and use those to say, you are not who we think you're going to be. You're not who you are now. You're trending in a very opposite direction. And here's the money that the game has for you. Here's what we have available to you at this point in time.
Speaking of the game having some money for you, the Underdog Fantasy app has the money for you. I'll tell you that right now.
Best app in the game, baby.
A lot of people are saying that, and they're right. It's not an opinion. It's the greatest time of the year. Again, football is back, and it's here to stay until February. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog. Win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats, like touchdowns, passing yards, and more. Dallas, who do the Cowboys have this week coming up?
It's, I think it's a bye week for the Cowboys. Again? Yeah, it was.
That's
they
crazy.
Just, yeah, it's. Well, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but they just don't show up. So
schedule makers are they're on something crazy this year. It sounds like.
Yeah,
it's a little weird
stuff.
But making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head on over to Underdog's simple to use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code Jared. That's JARED, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared to claim your new customer special of a free pick after your deposit offer. Okay. So Corbin Burnes is one thing. And I know we have to talk about the Rookie of the Year. It's being announced tonight. It's a big debate. I would say it's the most interesting debate out of the entire award season. I know maybe some people will disagree. Maybe the American League MVP is, more interesting to you. I think the Rookie of the Year in the National League is the most. But I did see this from our very own Milky, the king of aggregation. He clipped this from Ken Rosenthal just moments ago. It's about Alex Bregman and his contract demands. The Athletic's Tim Britton projects a 7-year, $189 million contract for free agent third baseman Alex Bregman. I suspect that Bregman and his agent Scott Boras are aiming higher, specifically a deal closer to the 11-year, $350 million extension that Manny Machado signed with the San Diego Padres in February 2023. I'll pause the quote to give a little bit of a reaction there. Let's not use the Padres when they were on crack as a benchmark for any contract moving forward. Like any of those contracts that were in that window of time.
Yeah.
No, that was their on crack time period. I continue. Preposterous? Maybe. Considering that another of Boris's third base clients, Matt Chapman, recently signed a 6-year, $151 million deal. The Machado extension, which prevented him from opting out at the end of 23, resulted in part from the passion and generosity of the late Padres owner, Peter Seidler. Other teams, including Bregman's previous club, the Houston Astros, likely view it as an outlier. No shit. But the statistical comparison between Machado and Bregman is closer than one might think. Under no circumstances, we all understand the circumstances under which Manny Machado got that money. Same thing for Alex Bregman. Same thing for Yu Darvish. Same thing for who else got a stupid amount of money that was unnecessary?
You said Xander, right?
Yeah.
They gave Yu Darvish one of those fake extensions, and also Cronenworth got paid.
Yeah, 7 years for no reason.
Cronenworth got like a 14-year, $17 million contract or something.
Yeah. So what do we think about Tim Britton projects 7 years, 189 for Bregman, but that Scott Boras, according to Ken Rosenthal, will look at Manny Machado's 11-year, $350 million deal as the benchmark for what Bregman should be getting.
Yeah,
we can just flat out say it. No fucking team is coming close to that.
But obviously he's supposed to say that. He's gonna say that's crazy.
You know what? I actually don't think. No, I'm gonna push back lightly on Joey here. I don't think you need to say that.
Go hard.
I actually think it does you a disservice to the extent that any team or GM is actually paying attention to these quotes to put a number out there like that.
You're naive. Because if you don't think the puns work, you're naive.
No, but I think saying that Alex Bregman is looking for a Manny Machado-esque payday is off-putting. It's so unrealistic as to be like, well, I don't even want to engage with you in a conversation on Alex Bregman now because we're not coming anywhere close to 350 million. We're not coming anywhere close to 250 million. So what are we doing here? Like that to me, like is maybe it's bluster, maybe it's a fake report or whatever. Maybe it's Scott Boras just doing a thing. To me, this is much closer to Scott Boras having lost his touch than it is to Scott Boras coming up with some big brain fucking idea to get Alex Bregman a lot of money.
How much is this Scott Boras trying to avenge last winter? Like, he took a fat L across the board last winter.
But you can't avenge that. Those losses already happened. You cannot make that up by asking for. Yeah, you can't make that up by asking for literally twice as much money as Alex Bregman is likely to get.
Dude, this is look. If you're going to talk about Boras, and you know how much respect that I have for that man. I love the dude. He's
I
been
love having
but,
him on. I'm not trying to hate on Scott Boras. At
oh
all.
no,
Yeah.
he's been nothing but great to us. But this is, you have to call it what it is, and this is what has made Scott so incredible at what he has done for decades. This is why he is the gold standard and has been for decades, is because of his ability to rework and to paint a picture for you that only you can see and create value that only you hold for his player. Well, that gap has been drastically closed, if not completely erased, because of the availability of data and the value of data. And every team has their own set of data. So his job and what he was able to do better than anybody, again, for decades, has now become something that essentially interns can do because of the data available to them. And now it's about forming it and working it and making sure you're using the correct comps and painting the picture in a light where you are not, I'm not giving you a comic strip and then asking you to take a look at Starry Night by Van Gogh and give me your thoughts and ask you to, like, that's
So I've told this story on previous versions of this podcast, and I want to do it just really quickly now since we're talking about Boras, and I do think it shines a light on how the industry has changed, which isn't to say he hasn't changed with it at points, but I just can never get this story out of my head. I was lucky enough to go into his suite at the winter meetings one year and get to, like, nothing off the record, but just like, he kind of fielded questions as I sat there and kind of sat in awe. And Rafael Soriano was one of his premier free agents that offseason. At the time, obviously an unsexy name now, at the time, you could argue that he was the best reliever in that free agent class. I think he was coming off of a 40 save season or whatever, what have you. And I remember that Scott opened it up to his team of contract statisticians and stuff like that. And in an attempt to wow, you know what I mean? And obviously I'm coming at it from a very specific perspective. And I remember they started trotting out stats basically showing how Rafael Soriano was a generational reliever. And I could have run those searches in the moment on Baseball Reference, okay? And the point is that at the time, he could go directly to ownership with that sort of information and make it seem like the greatest thing in the world. And at the time, that data was pretty cutting edge as it relates to agencies and their implementation of it in sales pitches towards ownerships and teams. Now what happens? The vast majority of these contracts have nothing to do with ownership, and they have everything to do with the front offices that are as dialed in on these valuations as you could possibly be. So he keeps trying to do, it seems to me, the old playbook of, we're going to go around, we're going to hit up this Ted Lerner, we're going to hit up this 85-year-old guy with an enormous amount of money who's been nothing but successful in his business wherever he was operating. And now those front offices are in large part too smart for that game, and have all of the information, if not more information, than I'm assuming Scott Boras and his crew are operating with. So it's and that's true of all agencies.
Think about this. Was it Carlos Correa who was talking about how the market was behaving weirdly because a lot of the offers were the exact same numbers, the exact same years.
It was Kike.
Kike. The exact same number, the exact same years, and
they were getting offered at the same time as well.
And they're getting offered at the same time,
and they were getting followed up on at the same time by different organizations.
So that stuff right there, I mean, again, there's a C word that gets thrown around with shit like that, but you need to understand that those numbers are so similar, and the time, the duration, the length of these is so similar for a reason, because the math and the algorithms, all right, have been filtered through over and over and over again. And each organization, if they're worth their salt, has a set of numbers and a set of filters that they use to identify talent and value their talent. And here's a news flash, folks, is there's some overlap there between those organizations and those numbers, which is why the compensation numbers look so similar at times, because the numbers are basically just telling them what the numbers are going
Well, and that one team hired the other team's front office from the previous past offseason, you know what I mean? Brought over Heim Bloom, and it's like, let's do the Heim Bloom thing, you know what I mean? And but like, you know, and not to belabor it, but like back in the day, it felt like owners in Major League Baseball were a collection of like people who made their money doing like cattle ranching and real estate, and you know, George Steinbrenner made his money in shipping and shipbuilding or whatever. And it's like, now you go down venture capitalist, tech bro, real estate, tech bro. And it's like, well, they're all coming at it from the same perspective. And they're all very modern in how they approached it. They acquired a baseball team. We talk about this all the time too. These baseball teams are investment products for these teams. They're not, most of these teams are not signing free agents so that they can point to their buddies and be like, look at this cool shit that I got. We're going to go see Juan Soto play this year. Some of them are. Most of them are now the VC approach, where it's like, this is our bottom line item for us. And does this make sense or does it not? And you're not going to Rafael Soriano us.
And that's where the game is begging for a owner to come back in and be that disruptor, right? Like be that.
We were told Cohen was going to be it.
Well, let's do it. Well, this is where the Juan Soto conversation kicks off.
Well, I mean, in fairness to Steve Cohen, can't we sit here and say that he more than likely matched Yamamoto's salary? That like he's trying. Like, I think what we expected was like, okay, the Dodgers offered Yamamoto $326 and Steve Cohen gave him $400 million. Like, fuck you. Like, I have so much money I can just outbid you by egregious amounts.
If we're talking about changing the game, that means getting the player. That means paying the most money and getting the player.
I agree. That example, though, and I agree with what you're saying, Jay. Outside of this example, because
that's fine. I understand. That's a bad. That was a bad example for me to get on.
No. That's why I'm agreeing with the sentiment behind it 100%. But in this example, and specifically because Shohei already existed where he existed, to identify you as a player ahead of the Dodgers after a Japanese-born player in this day, like, no, you're in second. And so, Steve Cohen, thank you for coming. Thank you for running the race. You were always going to get the silver medal if the Dodgers were in on Yamamoto at any point in time, regardless of what you were going to offer him. And I believe that it's not just a cultural thing, but I think it's because of the cultural economic impact that Shohei has already created that allows Yamamoto to tap into. And if Steve Cohen could maybe offer the opportunity for Yamamoto to be the tip of that spear in his world over there in New York, great. Did that happen? I don't know. Why didn't it? I don't know. Steve Cohen, more than a good enough position to be able to make something like that happen.
That's fine. Now now we got to see it with Juan Soto, because this is all we've been talking about. Can we circle back to Bregman for a second, though? Because the contract number, what was the number, Jared?
189.
Specifically, what is it? Hold on, I got it right
189?
here.
189?
So why I find that to be particularly interesting and a quote unquote fair kind of projection, if I'm Boris and Bregman, is because I have to get more money than Chris Bryant got. Like, just I got to.
What was that? 235?
It was no. Bryant was 182. It was 7 years, 182. So
all right.
Obviously that contract's a disaster for the Rockies. But like, if I'm from the perspective of the player, I'm like, we didn't know it was going to be a disaster at the time, right? It didn't seem egregiously unfair for a in decline Bryant. Bregman's also in decline. He's entering a year older in free agency in terms of season age, but there's also been 2-3 off seasons have elapsed since then, inflation, all that sort of stuff, like contracts move in that direction. So I don't know what he's going to get, but if I'm Alex Bregman, that's a fair point to kind of zero in on, if I'm fair, quote unquote fair, because, I can't take less than Chris Bryant.
Yeah, and I don't want to jump to any conclusions here, but I think we can fairly say that he will eclipse Chris Bryant, at least in terms of total dollars. Maybe the AAV won't be, because how many years did Bryant get? 7?
182.
Okay.
So Jared, you've got Bregman at least 183. I mean, if we're playing prices right.
Yeah, I mean, because what did Chappie get? Chappie got 161 over what? 5?
I think it was 151 over
151
over 6.
Over 6.
Okay. Yeah,
Yep.
I think Bregman can get that, and you know what? I know that he has said
Dansby Swanson got 177 over 7.
Yeah, right. So, but he was younger, right?
A little bit. Yep.
Yeah. I think it's going to be in that region. Do I think he's going to blow past Chris Bryant? No. Do I think he'll eclipse it? Yes. And at the end of the day, like Alex Bregman has said, I'll play second base. He's doing the Willie Adames. Like, I'll play whatever position you need me to play as long as you give me my money. I'm just not ruling out the Astros saying, like, we need to keep these guys here. Like, we've created a winning culture, and Bregman is just as big of a part of that as Altuve is at this point. He's younger, so it's like, once Altuve kind of ages out, you're still going to need that piece, right?
Well,
like that, like hanging on to the glory days, the cheating days.
That's where Pena
keep
comes
that there.
in. That's where Mr.
Well,
Pena.
Mr. Pena,
Mr. Pena ain't that guy.
He's not that guy. He's too nice. No, he's a piece. He's a piece that you need, no doubt.
I mean,
but
your ALCS World Series MVP.
Stop living in the past. Stop living in the past.
Is not your guy.
DB.
He's not a guy. If you don't have anybody else on that roster, so what I'm asking from you guys is, if the dude I just said, Mr. Pena, who I just outlined his accolades, is not the fucking guy, like, then who else on that roster?
I think we need to describe what we're talking about with the guy, because are we
He's
talking about a winning
until
player?
he reaches free agency.
No,
Yeah.
Mr. Pena, Mr. Pena, winning player. We can all say he's a winning player. Yes, but it's Game 7 of the World Series. They're on the road. The Astros are losing 4-1. It's the 4th inning. Who's giving that dugout speech? Jose Altuve has retired. Who's giving that speech? Is it Mr. Pena or is it Alex Bregman? Because I think it's Alex Bregman.
If they're in the same dugout, it's Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
If they're in the same dugout, it's undoubtedly Alex Bregman. But my question was, if Alex Bregman's not in that dugout, who's the Astros guy? Who's the next guy up? And it's Mr. Pena in my mind, because I don't know if Kyle Tucker's that dude to bark.
You're
like
talking
that.
emotional center. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll defer on that one. I thought we were talking production. I was like,
would it make any sense for the Astros to trade Kyle Tucker?
Well, so that was going to be my immediate follow-up to the Bregman conversation, is that if you do not sign Alex Bregman, you then risk the specter of Bregman walking and Tucker walking in consecutive seasons, because the word on the street is that Kyle Tucker wants $300 million. So that's what I read. So
from whom?
Oh, a reputable source. It wasn't just like some bullshit off the internet. It was like I was doing my off-season prep, and
as long as it wasn't John Heyman.
No, he's blocked me. I can't read him.
I don't know how he hasn't blocked me. I
guess I can read him now with the new rules. I just can't interact with him. But yeah. So Tucker and whatever. If it's $275 million, $300 million, point stands. Like, you may need to pay up in an entirely different way to keep Kyle Tucker. And if you lose Bregman, do you have even less leverage with the Tucker thing? Does signing Bregman for $190 million insulate you against the future loss of Kyle Tucker? Then, to your point, can you turn around and trade Kyle Tucker in his walk year and start, retooling around Bregman, Altuve, Yordan, Mr. Pena as kind of this interim core? Like, I think there's a lot of interesting questions about where the short and medium term future of the Astros goes.
If you're not gonna offer him, or if you're not going to extend him at that point, don't you just keep Kyle Tucker, offer him, give him the QO, and then take your pick?
Yeah, yes. But you could absolutely do that. Yes.
Yeah.
But I would assume that the package you could get for him
would be better
in December, if you already know that you're not signing him and you've got Alex Bregman pen to pad, is greater than the comp pick. You obviously have to do the math whether the comp pick plus an entire year of Kyle Tucker production is worth more than the prospect package. And obviously that's the calculus they're doing all the time. But I think it's a pretty interesting situation. And in that sense, it feels like it gives Bregman maybe a teens more leverage. I don't know how impactful it is, but Kyle Tucker is their best or second best offensive player overall, depending on how you view him versus Jordan. So
would you trade him?
I think it's a conversation you must have. I don't know that you must trade him, but you must have the conversation.
I think Kyle Tucker, if we're going down the list of guys on the Astros right now in this lineup that you don't want to be without. I don't want to be without this guy. I don't know that you put Alex Bregman ahead of Kyle Tucker.
No. You're correct. Kyle Tucker is unequivocally a better baseball player than Alex Bregman right now.
Which means that there's only one other guy that you probably pick before Kyle Tucker, and that's Jordan. And Kyle Tucker.
And I think plenty of people would even debate that. I think Tucker versus Jordan
because Kyle Tucker's
compelling.
more versatile. Like you're getting production on the base path, you're getting production defensively. I mean, they hide Jordan out in left field and tell him, look, just feel for the wall back here and then turn around and run to the gap if you have to. Kyle Tucker's Kyle Tucker is not a guy that I would trade if I were the Houston Astros, because there needs to be, if you're looking for star lineage and someone to carry that gene, to your guys' point, and you're picking puppies from a litter, you're not picking the Mr. Pena pup. You're picking the Kyle Tucker pup to keep the champion bloodline lineage going.
The other thing too is if you're Kyle Tucker, and this is someone that, we've had the conversation multiple times, this is an MVP candidate type player that doesn't get the respect that he deserves. Injuries have played a factor in that for sure. But I don't know. I guess I just have Mookie Betts PTSD. And what could a Kyle Tucker fetch you? Because Mookie Betts, like that trade is just, it's going to be one of the worst of all time because of what the Red Sox gave up, because of what the return was. Like if you are trading 1 year, is it 1 or 2 years? It's 1 year? He's got 1 year left. 1 year of Kyle Tucker coming off an injury plagued season. What does that return look like? Is the return worth not having Kyle Tucker for what could be a kind of go for it year with the Astros? It's probably not going to be worth it.
I don't know. Like that's where, have you identified prospects that are within your reach that are going to be big league ready, like within the year or two? That's where that conversation for me starts. Like I'm going, like when I'm talking about return, and I'm not talking about dudes that I can sneak onto the roster to make this digestible. I'm talking about dudes who are going to be present. We're going to be like having to make decisions through their arbitration.
This is a team that still wants to win the division in the World Series.
Right.
It's a very small needle to thread.
Bregman gone. Mr. Pena gone. Jordan, Kyle Tucker. Like who's got to stay, man? You have to keep somebody around. It feels like you're starting to get comfortable with looking for fillers in a lot of these spots. If
haven't they shown a willingness to do that though? Like they've given Altuve a couple extensions. No,
Altuve and Jordan got one too. But I think this comes down to like, can they re-sign everybody? They got to pick they got to cut probably one of them at least.
I think they have shown. Sorry, go Joey. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was done.
Well, Altuve will just age out. That takes that off the table.
What takes what off the table?
Like Altuve is going to eventually retire. Like that's not something where you have to like choose someone over a key piece. Like one of your key pieces is going to be too old to play at one point.
Yeah, but that's down the line. I mean, like this offseason, I feel like they're kind of like in the boat where they're like, we can either sign Bregman or next year we re-sign Tucker.
I think what's interesting about them, the Astros, and their philosophy is that they've shown a willingness to run some pretty high payrolls overall. But what they really haven't done is do what you guys are talking about with Kyle Tucker. There has never been that sort of contract on the books under Jim Crane. Just hasn't existed. Like they gave Altuve a contract. That Altuve contract was very affordable in the scheme of things. I think he got $120 million this last time. And Jordan's contract is, I mean, it was signed very, very early. he signed a 6-year, $115 million deal. So I think we're all on the same page about where 6 years and $115 million for Yordan Alvarez, which side of the equation is coming out ahead on that one. So like, yes, they're not some ridiculously cheap organization that doesn't pay to keep their own players, but they don't have a track record of paying $250 or $300 million to retain their own guys or to go out and get other people, which is what makes the Kyle Tucker thing specifically so interesting in the future.
Is there any thought to rolling the dice on that last year with Kyle Tucker being
100%.
like, well, he's got injury concerns. So if he misses 2 months or a month next year, that whole $300 million that you're asking for, I don't know that you're in a position to be asking for it.
What's your injury concern? I mean, he hit a ball off his leg and broke his leg. And whether that
Look at what happened to Yelich when that happened.
Whether that was misdiagnosed or not, I understand, but it's not like he's injury prone per se.
No, but some guys have injuries and they're not quite the same after that. I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, well, I didn't know what you were saying. Like,
no, I'm not saying he's
the one
like
injury?
Stanton. It's not a chronic thing. No.
Okay, well, that's. Yeah.
But your larger question, are you willing to roll the dice on a year of Tucker for X and reasons? And what you cited is one of the variables that plays into there. The fact that the Astros are supposed to be good next year and want to win baseball games. That's a variable. The comp pick that Dallas brought up, that's another variable. Like, it's an equation here. It's not just an either or. It's like, at the end of the day, what is the overall best value? What is it worth in the present to sacrifice maybe a little bit in the future on the prospects we're not getting because we think we can win baseball games right now? Like, I mean, we're not doing division picks right now, but if we were forced to, I personally would probably take the Astros to win the AL West right now. just as things stand right now. That matters. This is not a team that is, this isn't the Nationals. They're not like saying goodbye to an era. They've got these guys on the books. They've got 2 of their 3 best players long-term under contract offensively.
And that's the thing, is they have the opportunity to continue that trend. It's just a matter of them picking where they want to continue that trend. That's it. That's the equation. Because as you alluded to earlier, Jay, the calculus is, what is the compensation pick? What is the value of that dollars wise for that slot? What do we think we're going to be able to get? Like, and that's where, the scouting department and all of that has brought all the information in. All right, we're going to attach a dollar value to that. There's going to be a dollar value attached to Kyle Tucker. There's going to be a dollar value attached to the 2 players that we're going to be looking for in return. And how does that all wash out in the end? That's the math that they're trying to do.
It's interesting. It's an interesting conversation. I mean, it's that stems from, I guess, Bregman's rumored contractual demands. I don't know. Boris is going to Boris. If you're going to ask me, like, gun to my head, like, what does Alex Bregman want? I bet you he would say something along those lines. Like, I'm just trying to clear like that tier, the Chris Bryant tier. Like, I'm not trying to make fucking
I want
350.
I want Breaky Bob salsa served in every kiosk at Minute Maid Park.
Maybe. Minute Maid Park, didn't they just re-up the name?
That's right. New name.
Yeah, woo.
That's
what
nuts.
is it? Slam Joe.
Dude, good question. I don't know. I don't remember. Some company, man. Is it really that important? Was it named after a bank or some shit?
Some company, man.
Some company, man. Who gives a shit? Yeah,
I kind of feel like sad, like Minute Maid Park. Daikin, yeah.
Daikin. Daikin Park.
What is Daikin?
What
is Strauss?
America runs on Daikin.
What?
It's a manufacturing company. They're going to get a free ad here. It's a Japanese multinational conglomerate company headquartered in Osaka.
Oh, DAI.
Yeah, Daikin is the world's largest air conditioner manufacturer, which is perfect for Houston because it's fucking hot there.
Even though Astros are taking advantage of Shohei. It's crazy.
Bro, no. This is, maybe the Astros could be positioning themselves for the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes.
Like, hey, Roki, you like not sweating? Come on down
Roki's
to Houston where we have air conditioners.
Imagine if you were in the meeting, the marketing meeting, and you were like, listen, guys, I know we're a long shot for Roki Sasaki, but like, what if we swapped out Minute Maid and brought in a Japanese air conditioning company?
I love it. Yeah. Let's do
you think that would get pen to paper?
Yes, absolutely, Jay, because we're bringing in a prospect so hot, we had
Person
to
should
go
be
out
fired.
and cool your asses down. That's
Oh,
why.
look at that.
That's why,
Look at
Jay. I was
Wow.
in the marketing
I-
meeting.
Wow,
I'm
Dallas.
disappointed they didn't go back to Enron.
Yeah.
I
I love the way your brain works, Dallas. Let's see how fast it can work right now. I am a two-time MVP award winner.
Fabulous.
Guess something, please.
Barry Bonds.
I won them with the same
Oh,
team,
more
but
than
played
two.
for 3 teams over 19 seasons.
You won the MVPs for the same team, the Blue Jay. Oh shit.
This guy's a fucking idiot. This guy sucks at this.
Joe Carter.
I've also won a batting title, 4 Silver Sluggers, and have 5 All-Star selections.
What? Tony Gwynn.
I have won the Home Run Derby.
Frank Thomas.
That was out of the ass.
Yeah, that was
Boom,
probably
baby!
the
Big hurt.
worst performance to end in a victory ever.
I thought he was concussed to start.
Yeah, I was like, does he know?
Are we getting unanswer?
Yeah, I think we played guess the player with Dallas, and he threw a team out there just to see what the temperature was in the room, see if I was paying attention.
7-time MVP Barry Bonds with those 2 MVPs.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
I was like,
No,
well,
I know,
he's
you
won-
just needed a
he's
name.
won at least
Yeah.
2. He's won. And that's where you were like, say something.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can't get the second clue if you don't ever say a name. Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting a little concerned. I was like, this is gonna just be this is gonna be like Mike Tyson. This is gonna be a sad finish. A once great performer.
Barry Bonds, Blue Jays.
Hey, is it? I got to be honest. I am embarrassed and don't even want to claim that victory.
Yeah, I mean,
Message you the answer. Barry
we were-
Bonds, Blue Jays, hamburgers, Frank Thomas.
we were one hint away from Dallas guessing a different Japanese manufacturing company. That was coming.
Oh,
coming.
man. Good work.
Yeah, but if you love Japanese manufacturing companies, you can head on down to Houston next season using the Game Time app. It's encouraged that you go down there. And actually, you know what? I feel like I was there a long time ago. I would like to go there for a playoff game. I went there when they sucked. I went there in 2011. I'd like to get a little taste of that Houston playoff experience. It's something that's yes, go ahead.
Can I give a pitch for the video board at what is it? Is it Daikin Ballpark? Is it Daikin Stadium? What do we got?
I think it's Park.
Daikin Park.
Yeah. Yeah, Daikin Park.
Come on out to Daikin Park, where Roki's going to be blowing gas and we're going to be cooling your ass.
It's working. Yeah, it's working.
Yeah,
slogan,
we're just
Yeah, you know
chiseling
what else
away
was
at it.
refreshing and cooling down? A Minute Maid juice box.
That's
Yes.
true. Yeah.
You know how unfortunate I can't say that anymore.
Yeah, it's
It's
true.
so funny when you get mad at a place for changing their stadium name from one corporate name to another corporate name.
Yeah.
It's like you forget Wrigley Field is just another name of a company.
Yeah. Well, but it's because it's
Wrigley's
stood
a
the test
company?
of time.
Yes.
Is it still around?
Well, I mean, it's the last name of somebody.
I mean, I thought it was just like the name of the area, like Fenway. Like Fenway Park is in the Fenway area of Boston.
Wrigley gum, brother. They make gum, don't they?
Yes.
Chicago
Spearmint.
legend.
Oh.
Headquartered
city's
in
named
Goose
after.
Island, Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, old man Wrigley, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, yep. William Wrigley Jr., the founder
go.
of the Wrigley Company.
Wow.
See?
The
Old
more
man
you know.
Wrigley.
The more you know. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I've said this before, but the holiday season quickly approaching. It's what I'm doing for some of the gifts. I do it every year. Experience gifts. That's what I do. Ellen, Rod Stewart, get her some Rod Stewart tickets. She loves it.
Loves the rod.
Loves.
What?
She loves Rod Stewart, Joe. There's no the. It's just Rod. She loves Rod Stewart.
Joe.
Darius
Why? Okay, I
Rucker.
was not. What happened?
My mom likes Rod Stewart and Darius Rucker.
So what does this have to do with me?
Nothing.
Because I wasn't paying attention and I was laughing, so I feel like I did something bad.
No. Game Time Picks, they've got curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy,
I like
theater,
Rod
and more.
Stewart's good too, man.
Yeah, he's great. He's got great music. All in pricing, you toggle that feature. It shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price guarantee, your Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Just got a text message from David Ortiz. I'm going to answer that in a second. I gotta finish this read before I answer Poppy. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code BID for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the promo code BID for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it, Dallas?
Game time.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah. So, have you guys done any holiday shopping yet? No?
I have.
What'd you get?
I have done some holiday shopping.
Yeah.
Some gymnastics, gear, equipment, if you will, manipulatives.
Some fucking what now?
If you, not for me, my gymnastics window has closed. But yeah, for the children, for my nieces.
That's
That's
cool.
about it. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Knock some of that out. I'm an early Christmas shopping guy. I like to get it
I
done.
am too now. I wasn't before. I used to be a go on Christmas Eve guy to the mall. I don't do that no more.
But oh God. I'm almost disappointed in myself because I used to be that guy too.
Yeah.
I've grown.
I'm recording the podcast.
I went to a mall recently. What an eerie experience that is.
The indoor mall?
Yeah.
Was it like just a local town indoor mall?
I went to a store that shall not be named because my phone screen cracked, and of course it's in the mall. And I just haven't been in a mall in a really long time.
I love malls.
I got to tell you, midday during a Friday at the mall, you see some people.
Oh, there. Yeah, you realize how ugly most people are when you go to the mall.
Yeah, I was like, I hope they're not looking at me and thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
because I was just sitting on a bench reading a book, probably like a real chud looking guy, because I was just waiting for my phone to get fixed, and I'm watching all these people walk by, and it's like, young people on dates who have nowhere else to go, and a lot of loneliness. It felt like, though.
Yeah,
a lot of loneliness.
I've been to the mall 3 times in the last week and a half.
Oh God, are you
Yep.
okay?
Yes,
That stinks.
I ordered a coat, had to pick it up, brought it home, didn't fit, had to return it, get a new size, and then realized, Then I realized that the belt that I bought at Express was too small. Shut up, Dallas. I'm a grown ass man. I fucking
growing
Yeah.
ass man.
Yeah. I bought a belt that I'm usually a 32-inch waist, and then I fucking the clip of the belt and the tip of the belt, like, I couldn't even get them to kiss. I was like, I
shopping in the fucking kids section, pal?
No, dude. I didn't realize that, like, the belts are the fuck. It's a 30-32, and I'm a 32, so I was like, all right, I'll get that. But apparently, I don't know, just didn't fit. So I'm gonna have to get like a 32-34. I don't even know how that works. I don't even know how that works.
Because it's too small.
Yeah, but
you're
you know
too
what?
big
Shut up.
for it.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I've been eating good. I'm taking care of myself.
Thanksgiving yet either, pal.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be I've been campaigning to get Thanksgiving to host this year. I feel like a lot of the younger
who's got Thanksgiving? Your sister's got Thanksgiving.
My sister has Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, that's right.
Yeah, she has Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, everybody has, so I'm not even gonna try to campaign for that. But Thanksgiving is my godparents, so I'm trying to campaign for that and just combine all the families and
There
you know, I feel like not because I'm lazy and I don't feel like traveling, but it's like, I want to host something. I can't do anything during the season. How many times have we been on the road, Jake, for fucking 4th of July? Like, we're not always around for 4th of July.
That was always my deal at home during the off season. When I lived back in the hood, was our door was just always open. My grandma would come over in the morning and shit was bumping, fire bumping, doors open, come through, eat, do whatever you got to do. Everybody was cruising through all day, every day. That's how it should be.
I got to answer my door. I'll be right back.
This guy, unbelievable.
Gotta answer my door.
Do you have somebody downstairs?
Well, Dallas is just talking about, like we just have anyone come to the door, I can let them in. And then this guy has some come to his door and you're mad that he's letting someone in his door.
I mean, it's not Thanksgiving, Joe.
But it's, it's coming up.
I mean, open door policy isn't standard for just like a random Tuesday.
I thought that's what you were saying. It's off season. Come over. Try to kick it. You guys are trying to chill. I got loud. That was Dallas. I got loud. You know what I'm talking about, Jake. You try to kick it.
You got that loud? Smoking all that gas.
All right. Yeah. Baseball. Woo! Loaded show today. Where were we?
Joe's smoking on that loud. He's talking about that loud.
The loud. Yes. Yes, of course. Elaborate? Feels like a good jumping off point to get into the rookie of the year. No.
Loud conversations about that rookie of the year.
What are the books are saying that Skenes is the guy?
Books are saying Skenes is the guy.
Do we agree?
I feel like there was real ebb and flow to this one, at least conversation and narrative wise across the course of the season.
I think there was a point where everyone was kind of looking like Skenes wouldn't have the innings.
Right? Like late summer, it felt like Jackson Merrill kind of started to get the oomph. I mean, he was doing all those game-winning home runs and obviously legitimately spectacular play. And Skenes was kind of like, not struggling. He didn't really struggle at any point, but like wasn't blowing by people like right away. But then September happened, I feel like, and I don't know. It just feels like it swung back the other direction.
Well, I think the difference was, I believe that in that time you're talking about, and I remember that period, like late summer, I think the notion everyone thought, like Skenes started the season in the minors, came up, whatever. I think everyone kind of projected that the Pirates would bench him, and not let him pitch the last few weeks, last month of the season, and then they did. And for me, that's the big difference. Like, I think the argument for Jackson Merrill that people are going to have, that makes sense to me at least, is that Skenes didn't pitch enough. That Merrill basically played every game of the season. Skenes came up in May, yada, yada, yada. He didn't have the innings. But then you just kind of look at value. And if the one thing you're saying the guy is not better at is that he didn't play enough, but in less time has the same amount of WAR, or close enough to the same amount of WAR, then that argument kind of goes away. Like, he was as good in less time, basically. And it shows how fucking dominant Skenes was.
Well, thank you. Because I think the bigger conversation, or I think maybe the foundational pillar for the argument for Merrill, is where his team ended up. And obviously the role he played in that. Because we don't have to wait to see where the team ends up to value his production. We know where they ended up, and we know how big of a role he played in that. And I think similarly to the MVP conversation, we have to decide what you're valuing. Are you evaluating the standalone individual performance, irrespective of the impact it has on the team play? Or are you somebody who absolutely wants to factor in and value the productivity of this player and the impact it has on their team? Were the Padres a Merrill away from being able to get to where they were in the postseason? I think you could argue that if he's not there, you're looking elsewhere for production that probably isn't there. And so the conversation's starkly different. And for Paul Skenes, the Pirates were not a postseason team, and they weren't a Paul Skenes, clearly weren't a Paul Skenes or even a full season maybe of Paul Skenes away from being a postseason team. So do you just say, with that in mind, I'm throwing that out the window and I don't care. Look at how ridiculously dominant this was. This and do you get to have the romantic conversation of taking a guy essentially like I said, you're plucking him from college and planting him into your fucking big league rotation?
I hear what you're saying. I don't put really any stock in the team success component really with the rookie of the year. Like if you want to have that conversation with the MVP and should a guy on a last place team versus a first place team, like it's literally called the most valuable player, and people can interpret that in ways that they want. They can interpret rookie of the year the way they want to, I guess. But like, to me, like, are you driving winning as a rookie for this award? 100% my opinion. I'm not factoring that in. I think there was always something a little weird to me about the idea that Paul Skenes was being discussed as like a Cy Young candidate and started the All-Star game. And then like 2 weeks after that was no longer the rookie of the year favorite in the narrative conversation. I'm like, maybe this is correct statistically. It feels off though. And I am glad in a lot of ways that Skenes finished September, to Joey's point, the way that he did with a sub-1 in 25 innings or whatever it was, because I do think that shifted it back to him. And Jackson Merrill was better than Jackson Chourio this year. But I don't know how much better he was than Jackson Chourio was. And if we're going to do like the driving winning thing, the Brewers won their division. And you could argue that Jackson Chourio was the single most important offensive player or position player, period, on their team for the final 4 months of the season. And so when that gray area starts to leak in, like I feel more comfortable going with the literally historically dominant rookie season from a pitcher that we in some ways have never seen before.
So then and just for full disclosure's sake here, I don't think anybody wants to, or does anybody have a question on where my vote would be going? My vote goes to Paul Skenes. Yeah, my vote goes to Paul Skenes.
You're not going to stick with the lefty, bro?
Buddy, fucking raise that banner, baby. I do think it's worth having though, because I am somebody who does value the presence, because this is something that can alter the path and alter the trajectory of an organization, is having young rookies show up and produce like this, produce the way that Merrill did. Because this is production that you're hoping for, that the calculator has told you could potentially expect, maybe not to this degree, but how often, damn it, does it play out the way that it did? And for Chourio as well. So I think that there should be value added to a team's success with a rookie who's taking 550 at bats. I believe that makes a difference, because there's a lot of teams across the sport who are looking for that sort of productivity with 2 and even 3 players at a time to fill those roles. When you land on a guy who under 23 years of age, under 22 years of age is giving you that. And you're like, oh, okay, let's roll up the sleeves. I think our window looks a little different than it may have.
What an incredible rookie class, by the way. I mean, we've hit on Skenes, Merrill, and Chourio briefly. Like Shota Imanaga couldn't even make the finalist ballot. And we're talking about a guy with a 2.91 ERA and 170 innings.
Yeah.
Like
not even a sniff.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what he ends up finishing. I'm sure he finished 4th or 5th in the actual voting, but like couldn't even get on the finalist list. And I'm not even saying that's unfair. I mean, it is unfair in a way. I'm not saying it's wrong though. Like I think they got the right finalists here, but that a guy who shouldered an entire season's worth of pitching with a sub-3 ERA in his rookie season isn't on the ballot. That speaks to just an incredible depth of class. And I also think it's exciting moving forward, because I don't think any of these guys, and we can focus on the finalists again, but like all 3 of these guys potentially have better in store for us. Like we're not looking at like the AL is fine. It's like, okay, Colton Cowser, Luis Gil, it's like Austin Wells. Like honestly, who kind of cares? But like this NL, we could be talking about two MVP-ish type guys on the offensive side. I don't know that Merrill gets to an actual MVP type player, but like, he could, absolutely could. Like an MVP
this
type player,
tracks.
regular All-Star appearances and regular Cy Young appearances for Paul Skenes, if not wins. Like, it's extremely exciting moving forward. I just think I think Skenes is the correct answer.
He is.
No one's giving you $400,000 for fucking Jackson Merrill card.
Yeah, that's true.
we'll
I thought
get
it was.
to
I
that.
thought it was up to 500. No.
I'm just saying that was what the Pirates offer. I guess it's estimated to be worth 400.
Did you see what the Pirates offered?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we can get to that later.
But did
Why
you
don't
see?
we can talk about
Let's
that
just do it now. Did you
Yeah.
see what that auction guy came over the top with, though? The guy who
Who,
runs
Gold-
like Golden
Golden?
Collectibles
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, Golden. Yeah, King
No,
Golden.
what'd he say?
Yeah.
He was basically like,
You just put a
before
bounty on it.
Yeah, he was basically like, before you accept any offer from anyone, including this team, and he quote
Call me.
tweeted the Pirates graphic with all the stuff they're giving away. He said, contact me directly. He said, we will sell the ball for way more than this package is worth. And if you want to turn around and use some of that money that you didn't use to put your kids through college to go meet and greet Paul Skenes, then you can do that independently of the offer. Like, because that's how much money you will have.
The Pirates deal sucks.
Well, here's
Here's
the
the
Terrible fucking deal.
Jesus,
dude.
Here's the
Joseph.
deal. Here's the
My
deal.
God, the
Terrible.
here's the
Pittsburgh
here's-
Pirates want this 1-of-1 MLB debut patch from Paul Skenes. The Pirates are willing to give you 2 Pirates season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years. Why can't you just do it for life at that point? Just say for life. Like, how many more years are you gonna have to do it beyond 30? Meet and greet with Paul Skenes. Okay. 2 Paul Skenes autographed jerseys, a softball game for 30 at PNC Park with coaching from Pittsburgh Pirates alumni, a private tour of Pirate City, and more unique experiences. I think Livy Dunn has also said you can sit in her suite for a game. The total, I mean, the season tickets for 30 years is where you get like the monetary value for all this, I think.
Somebody did the math on that, by the way.
What is the math?
Also, it's very piratesy here, folks. I hate to tell you.
What is it?
You say seats behind home plate.
second level.
They kept it vague for a reason, guys, because it's not actually the seats behind home plate. It's like the section behind the club section. So I'm not saying that that's
Like
not worth
$40
anything,
seats?
but they're like $40 seats. That's exactly,
Oh,
no,
man.
literally, that's exactly what they are.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
somebody added up the value of that over the period of time, and it's like $400,000 or $500,000. So it's like way less than they're projecting. I don't know what it's at right now, but Golden is at least implying that the ball itself, or the card itself, would go for more than that would go for. And you're also sorry, go ahead.
If Paul Skenes continues to perform and the Pirates continue to get better, then those tickets are going to increase in value.
I guarantee you,
Pirates
they
is
cannot
gonna
resell
increase
them.
in
I
value.
guarantee you they cannot resell them.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
no,
Then-
absolutely.
Then the whole thing sucks. Why? Like, who's going to go to?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's-
unless you
there's-
live next to the stadium.
Yeah.
What are the odds? Whoever pulls this card
Well,
out of the pack is going to be
that's
close
why-
to Pittsburgh.
That's why on the surface it's great because
It's a
the
great
team-
marketing ploy. Yep.
Yeah, how are you mad at the team? Look, the team is offering you to come to the baseball game every day. Like, that's up to you if you want to go or not. But we're offering you the opportunity every day for the next 30 years. You want to come to a Pirates game? On us, no problem.
Dallas
Yeah,
getting
well,
real defensive about
realistically,
this.
I
Almost
can't
like he helped come up with the
Yeah,
package to get
yeah.
the card.
He was in the room.
Yeah.
No.
He's like, guys,
I
I got
want
some
that
ideas
card.
for you, brother.
Yeah, and so here's the other thing.
card back, brother.
Here's the other implication behind this offer is this is something that impacts the hobby, impacts the trading card hobby, the memorabilia, like on such a massive scale. And if you are Tops right now and Fanatics, you are over the moon. Like, this couldn't be any better because
Topps
you
got
now
in the
have,
mix on social too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they
because you now have a product that standalone has a bounty on it that is being supported by a major league team in a way that no other team has ever supported. Like, you have players that might be in the hobby or are loosely affiliated with the hobby, and they send out a tweet. Yeah, hey, if you find my 1-on-1, I'm looking for it, blah, blah, blah. If you find this, I'm looking for it. Willing to pay you this, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is a franchise, and this is, a pop culture star and star athlete, and her boyfriend is pretty good at baseball, and she's rallying I mean, there's just from so many different angles, the hobby is receiving support, and this is having a major impact, dude. Major impact. Because like where you get this product, what you're buying right now, it's only coming in this one product. It's Chrome Update, and you can only get it there. It's not like you can get this card in any other box, any other set, no, this is it.
What would you do with the card? You would keep it or sell it?
Me?
Yeah.
If we'll put it like this,
Sell that shit, babe.
no, you know what? That's tough, man, because I would honestly, he would probably be able to leverage that card and get a lot more out of it for a very good cause than maybe I would. I know he's affiliated with the military, and he does things to help support the military. I know he works with Gary Sinise's like Strikeout for Troops or something like that. So I imagine he would be able to do something along those lines. And I say that if he wasn't somebody who just wanted his one of one. But I can't imagine any ball player out there not wanting their one of one. And especially if it has and this one of one, it's his rookie debut patch. You know, it means a lot. And I would think that it probably means a lot to a guy like him. So that card is absolutely his in my mind.
Okay. Well,
It's a sick card. I think that thing they're doing with the patches is actually a sweet thing.
It's dope. I make sure
It's
we
dope.
highlight it every time we have a guy come in on TV because it's such a cool experience. Like to pull that.
Shit, I might buy a fucking box, and I never bought a box of cards because they also got Ellie De La Cruz is in this one,
Mhm.
Jackson Merrill, Shota.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
This
there's
is a
Jackson Holiday. Like
Patch heavy, baby. Patch heavy.
all those cards are six figures. Anthony Volpe sold for $150,000. That's Volpe. I think all those guys, most of those guys at least, probably get more than that.
Mm. Shit, I even might buy a pack. The fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Stop it.
I'm
could
gonna ask
change-
Santa for a pack of that motherfucking cards right there.
How dope would it be? Me and you, Jared. We never bought a card in our life, basically. Buy a box. Jackson, Jared gets Jackson, I get Skenes.
That'd be sick.
Everyone's so pissed.
Yeah,
Oh, people
I'm-
would be
I'm-
heated.
I'm trying to tap into all the distributors. So if you're a distributor and you're listening to this, holler at your boy. Holler at your boy.
Yeah, I'm a hop on that. If I get the Skenes card, you know what? I'd just give it to him. I'd be like, "This is yours, bro."
Don't even
I'll tell
care.
Livy
I
Dunn,
wouldn't.
no thanks, but no thanks. You know?
You know what I would
Jay's
do?
selling it.
I'd live stream myself screaming lower it while burning it. Light that shit on fire. Lower it.
Damn. Damn.
What a sad, angry man.
Yeah.
Could pay for college, but you know what? It's better to make a point. It's
Yeah. That
better to
point
lean
is
into a
worth
bit.
$1 million. Yeah. Yeah. I guess we could talk about this with a little grain of salt. The old Hector. I like Hector Gomez, by the way, but he is citing Carlos Baerga.
Who's broken news before?
He has, and I also didn't know. Jay, is he doing commentary for the Guardians now? Baerga?
He is back into the fold doing some commentary. Yes. My one interaction with Carlos Baerga was I've never run into a man who has worn more cologne.
Guy likes to smell good, huh?
Saw Carlos Baerga in the ESPN news studio, and you were not going to miss Carlos Baerga.
Guy smells good.
Maybe the first player I liked, by the way.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Oh,
first baseball player I really latched onto. Yep.
Hector Gomez tweeted, source, the Yankees would be willing to give Soto a better offer based on average annual value than the Mets, but the Mets offer would exceed the Yankees offer in years in total value. And Carlos Baerga threw it out there that Soto had already received an offer of $660 million from the Mets, which I know Carlos Baerga has broken news before. This seems a little early to be throwing out offers, especially the offers that large. Like that. Like I thought the starting point here would be 6, But to go to 660, like you're just saying, like, yeah, sure, we'll go to like, why not start lower if you're the Mets? I guess if you really want the player, then you're like, this is how serious we are.
Yep. Keep the riffraff out. This is where we're starting, dude. So any other bullshit fluff that you're hearing from don't worry about it. Are they coming to you with this? Are you hearing this from anybody else? And we
are
know
you
that.
bidding against yourselves at that point? Like, don't you think that there are teams that would say the best we can do is 575 and that we feel like that's a competitive offer? What is that? And 45 times 12 or whatever? Yeah,
but then that conversation goes like this. Hey, that sounds great. I think you can understand we're probably in a position to field some phone calls, and I think we're going to have some conversations. I love to hear that that's the starting point, and I'm sure we'll be able to circle back and work through this.
But do you really, I mean, obviously it didn't happen, but let's just say hypothetically this did take place. In reality, the Mets said 660. Did the Mets actually think he would be like, all right, fine, cancel the meeting with the Yankees. This is what we want. Like, of course they're going to shop that around. They're going to say, hey, Hal, 660, what do you got? What do you got for me, brother?
But you have to, I think when we start talking about these kind of dollars and the conversations that you're having, goodwill matters. And if you're starting this conversation and you're starting this courtship in this way, I think that can benefit you. And again, we're talking in a hypothetical that this happened, that this is actually real. So if you're Steve Cohen and this is your guy, Jay, you said it, you got to get this player. Why is this a bad move? Why is this a bad move? If you believe that the market is going to be what it is, and you're more than willing to set that market yourself, then what is the harm in that? Because for me, it's about having the big bank, and it's about being able to bully people out of the hand. And that's exactly what you wanted to see from an owner who told you he wanted to win. Well, under the protocol and under the pretense here, this is maybe how he makes that move, is he says, I'm going to keep all the noise to a minimum. Anybody who wants to play, Juan, is going to have to play it in this pool. And this is the pool we're in. We're starting at 650 plus, pal. Minimum is what we're getting. Okay? If anybody else wants to come and dance, by all means, hear them out. Dance the dance. But we're making it known from Jump Street, this is how serious we are. This is our starting point. Our starting point very well may be people's, we're out of this. And that's great. So if it's the Yankees, we're going to have a conversation, Juan, but we're not going to go quietly.
I just don't buy it. I don't buy that 660 was on the table. Could it get there? Absolutely, yeah. Do I think he could sign for 660 or more? I do. But do I think the Mets put 660 on the table in their first meeting? No, I don't. I don't think that.
Does this feel like the Mets are being used as a freaking obvious pawn, and it's just he wants to go to the Yankees?
No,
he's going to go to the Yankees.
No,
because every time I see anything about the Mets, I'm just like,
because
to be a Yankee bad.
It would do no good for Steve Cohen to come out and refute that, would it? It was like just playing the goodwill game, having that goodwill conversation. What good would it do him to come out and say, hey, look, Juan Soto's a great player, but we did not start the conversation at 660. Could that be perceived as they're not even anywhere close to that? I mean, it could be perceived that way, where in Steve Cohen's mind, he might be saying to himself, thank God somebody's saying this, because we're more than willing. We are more than willing to go that route. And if this is the noise that's going to get some other people to shy away, fuck it, let it happen. Who cares?
If Juan Soto genuinely wants the Yankees and that's his first choice, he's a really good actor. Because when you just get eliminated in the World Series and your emotions are raw and you have people at your locker asking you about your future and they're trying to lead you in the direction of saying like, yeah, I love my time here. Like he was already talking about his teammates on the team in the past tense. Like he was talking about they got a really good team. You know, like I'm not saying that he doesn't want to be there. I'm saying, you know, if they're the top bidder, I think he'll go there. Again, he'll be happy to stay, but I don't think that he has any type of, you know, allegiance to the Yankees at this point.
Where's Juan Soto's home? Like not home in
Boston.
the offseason. Not home in the offseason.
He lives in Boston.
No. Like where's his home?
Dominican Republic.
The Dominican Republic.
He doesn't have a baseball
Boston.
home. There's nowhere. Juan Soto is a vagabond in
Washington, D.C.,
and so
baby.
it's easy for him to reference teammates in the tints that he does, because that's essentially the baseball life he's led at this point. And so it does him no good to use words or to give any sort of insight to how he might be feeling and say, yeah, I love these guys. No, those guys. They have, not we. We means I'm telling you that I feel a certain way about this. They means I'm identifying the situation for exactly what it is. They are a team over there. I am a free agent independent of them. And I've done this before. You think this is the first time that I've had to have these conversations and speak about my team or my old team in this manner as to put up the divide? Like there's some value in the mystery and the mystique behind the decision. Shohei Ohtani provided the insight to that and how you're just like, whoa, nobody heard anything. Okay. Now it's $700 million later. He's a Dodger for life, and not out of nowhere, but you didn't hear rumblings that were disturbing any of this.
I don't know.
I would say also that, like, I would say Juan Soto probably is a good actor. And I would say that Boris gave him
trained.
acting lessons and was
Correct.
like, you know the fucking script, dude. They went over
Yeah.
this shit like 100 times. Like, we've seen it with Cole, with the hat. All these, that's how they got to play it, man.
Yep.
I mean,
like-
he's been trained since day one when the Nats tried to, give him that massive extension, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good." That was what, like 3-4 years ago.
And that's what I mean. That's 3 or 4 years ago with the Nats. And then he signed, and then he's traded to San Diego. And you got to go through similar conversations like that about what the future is going to look like and how happy you are to be here. And you got to, you're talking about 10 years from now and what that's going to be like. And he's got to quell those conversations all while still being a good teammate. And
That was the whole introductory press conference when he got
Right.
traded to the Padres. Everyone was like, "So you going to stay for the rest of your life?" He's like, "I haven't
Right.
even fucking played a game here yet."
exactly.
He's like, yeah.
So
The
he's
Soto
well-versed.
sweepstakes has been a thing for quite some time now. This is
He's
not narrowed
well-versed in
down
this.
to, Yep. He knows how to handle the situation. And we're lucky to have him in Boston. It's going to be fun.
It's so cute.
Shut up. You know what, Dallas? You're just mad because like the last big free agent signing you had was Yoenis Cespedes, and he didn't even play the whole. He came to the Red Sox. He was like, "Get me the fuck out of here." It's the same thing as Juan Soto. He's like, "Get me the fuck out of here. I want to play for the Red Sox." Nick Martinez has accepted his qualifying offer, which no shit. Nick Pivetta has until tonight. Yeah, the deadline's tonight, Jake.
Believe so tonight. Yep.
Yeah. So can keep an eye on some qualifying offers. I mean, Nick Martinez, that was a
He's not
no-brainer.
accepting.
Nick Pivetta, yeah, I don't think he is either.
No.
At first, when it got announced that they had made him the qualifying offer, I was like, well, why'd you do that? And then,
their
you
pick.
start reading the reports. It's like, yeah, some teams think that they can unlock something. Like, yeah, good luck. Good luck picking that lock, brother. I'm not saying he's a bad pick. He's fine. He's like, his ceiling is a number 3, but he's ultimately going to be a number 4, number 5 that posts, which there's a ton of value in that. A guy that can take the ball every 5th day. He's going to make 32 plus starts. He can pitch out of the bullpen if you need him to. And he'll have his hot stretches and he'll have his bad stretches. He gives up bombs and he's a great competitor. I guess he's a dickhead, but his teammates like him. That's all that's important. So we'll see
What
what
did he
happens.
do to you personally? I forgot.
I don't think he did anything. He unfollowed me because I was like talking shit about Caleb Bort, and I was like, anyone that wants to be in that guy's corner, you can stay over there because he's a real piece of shit. So
I agree.
yeah,
I blocked Caleb Bort
thank
months
you,
ago.
thank you. That guy sucks. But yeah, no, I hope Nick Pivetta gets a nice little 3-year piece somewhere and continues to have a nice career. I have no ill will towards Nick Pivetta. No, I just know like the reporters that have worked with him have all described him as being a dickhead, but I don't have any personal
Not to put
experiences with Nick
anybody on
Pivetta where he's a
blast.
dickhead.
Everyone I know, everyone he's worked with, but he won't even fucking work with me. So that's how big of a dickhead this guy is.
I'm not saying he's a dickhead. I'm just saying everybody I've ever met in my life that has
Yeah.
met him said that he's a dickhead.
Yeah, not me though.
Yeah. Not me.
Personal
It's not
experience,
me
great guy.
saying it. It's
Great
me relaying the opinions of every single
Yeah.
other person.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I haven't been around him yet. He's been nice to me. But I know
Me too.
like reporters haven't described him as being fluffy.
You know that Boston media, boy. they come for your head, man. You got to keep a distance with those cats.
Yeah, we don't
Cutthroat
play.
in Boston.
We don't play, brother. Anything else? Anything else you guys want to hit on today?
I wanted to tell us just real quickly about the in-season tournament in the NBA.
Please.
I know
Yeah.
that's kind of like a real hard pivot, but nevertheless, I really think it's worth our time.
Please.
So we've got the in-season tournament. That's pretty fun. And Underdog is giving out promos during the in-season tournament. The next in-season tournament, it's every day of the in-season tournament. Promos are happening. The next day is Tuesday, November 19th. That's tomorrow. Today's Monday, November 18th. Dropping a promo every day. Check the app to see what surprise promo you got today. Guys, I went above and beyond for you. I went above and beyond for the listeners. Here's the slate for the in-season tournament tomorrow. It's Cavs, Celtics, Hornets, Nets, Nuggets, Grizzlies, Pelicans, Mavs, Thunder, Spurs, and Jazz, Lakers. And you know what I have? I have a goddamn nugget on every single one of those matchups. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready?
Hit me.
Greatest promo you've ever heard. The Cavs are the fourth team. This is Cavs Celts. So Jared, Jake, sorry. You're
I'm
the
a
defending
Suns fan.
champs though. You got plenty. The Cavs are the fourth team to start 15-0 and are tied for the second best start to a season in NBA history, trailing only the 15-16 Golden State Warriors, who won 24 games straight en route to 73-9. Every team that has started 15-0 or better went on to at least make the NBA Finals. Hornets Nets. LaMelo Ball would be the 10th player in NBA history to have a season averaging 29 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds at 23 years old or younger. The other players, Luka, Trae Young, Durant, T-Mac, MJ, Dr. J, LeBron, Shaq, and Bob McAdoo. Nikola Jokic, this is Nuggets Grizzlies. Jokic currently leads the NBA in both rebounds per game and assists per game. He'd be the first player, as best I can tell, in NBA history to lead in both those categories in the same season. Little bit of a haterade here. Klay Thompson in this Pelicans-Mavs game, something to watch. He's currently shooting 39.7% from the field overall. That would be a career worst. He's shooting 35.6% from three. That would be a career worst. And his 53.4% true shooting percentage would be his worst since his second season. So that's signings off to a bit of a rough start for the Mavs. Thunder Spurs. I mean, this might be the best matchup of the night. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander against Victor Wembanyama, assuming he's back from his knee contusion. SGA is currently averaging 40.6 points per 100 possessions this season. He would join Michael Jordan as the only players in NBA history to produce 3 straight seasons of 40 or more points per 100 possessions across their age 24, 25, and 26 seasons. So that's obviously, you can't even point to pace because it's obviously prorated for 100 possessions. And then finally, Jazz Lakers, LeBron against the carcass of the Utah Jazz team. The Jazz have the 4th worst offensive rating and the 2nd worst defensive rating among all NBA teams this season. So they are bad. And that's be sure to check your app for those in-season tournament promos from Underdog.
So that's the worst offense, 2nd worst defense. Is that right?
4th worst offense, 2nd worst defense. Yep.
4th worst offense.
Yeah, it's a really bad combo.
Yeah.
Shit.
That's tough.
You gonna watch Cavs Celts, Jared?
No, I'm a Suns fan. I don't care. I was watching. I was watching.
They're not
the
in the
Celtics.
IST tomorrow.
Yeah. I was watching the Celtics. What night was that, Jake? Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah, I was rooting hard for my boy, Jason Tatum in the chat. Dude's a legend.
Okay. He's very good.
Mm-hmm. Ice in his veins.
7th or 8th or 9th best player in the league.
Hell yeah, brother. It's a lot higher up there than I am.
Yeah,
So.
you. I bet you're bad at basketball.
Yeah.
Too bulky.
Yeah. I get winded easy.
Yeah, you're like Anthony Mason down there.
I'm not very what's the word for that? Good.
Good. Yeah.
I had him.
Skilled.
I had him more of a Zion body type, but with maybe out some musculature and not
Yeah.
the height and
So broken.
explosiveness.
Broken. You're just broken.
I'm not. You know what? You know what the word I was looking for? I'm not.
Zion's out again, by the way.
I'm not aerodynamic. You know,
No.
I'm like a piece of plywood walking down the court. It's like,
Well, and you start to get spherical in some areas, you know.
yeah.
I bet Joey can ball.
Yeah, Joe's long, wiry.
Look at him.
Yeah, but he's not that wiry though. He's got underrated thickness to him.
Mm-hmm. He's got that dog in him. You can tell. Look at him.
Yeah. Plus, he's young enough to still be out there balling.
Yeah.
Joe is absolutely a dude who, when you go to play pickup basketball with him at the gym for the first time, and he gets going in the game, you're like, I don't know this dude. I have no fucking idea who this dude is. He's setting up screens. He's taking fucking charges. Like he's doing it all. He's pissed at people. Like he's more than willing to fight you. Like,
let me drop a name for you. With that stash, we got a lot of Adam Morrison going on right now.
Just a dirty zag. Dirty zag.
I could see Joey cry. I could see Joey crying on the court too, like Adam Morrison did when they lost to UCLA.
If it comes down to it.
Hell yeah, brother.
If it's advantageous to the squad, you got to cry.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Dallas, any final thoughts here today?
Did he break again?
No, I think he's charged.
Frank Thomas.
No.
He said no. Let's move on before he says something.
Yeah. Jay, any final thoughts?
No. Well, I was
quick stat run here for the awards stuff today. Paul Skenes, 1.96 ERA. That is the lowest ERA by a rookie pitcher with a minimum of 20 starts in the last 50 years. Previous record was, quote unquote, was Jose Fernandez, 2.19 in 2013. NL rookie or Jackson Merrill, the other contender here. Among players, he is the sixth player in the wild card era to have 24 or more homers and 16 or more stolen bases in his age 21 season or younger. The other players to do so: Julio Rodriguez, Acuna, Trout, Justin Upton, and Andrew Jones. AL Cy Young, Tarek Skubal obviously won the Triple Crown. The AL pitchers to win the Triple Crown since integration: Skubal, Verlander, Johan Santana, Pedro, and Roger Clemens, who did so in back-to-back seasons in 97, 98. That's non-shortened seasons. Obviously, Bieber did it as well in 2020. NL Cy Young, Sale, pitchers to win the Triple Crown in the last 50 seasons in the NL. Sale, Kershaw, Peavy, Randy Johnson, and Dwight Gooden. And then obviously we'll get to MVP later on. Also, quick plugola, since it will be released by the next time we pod. Next video essay is coming out on Wednesday to coincide with Chris Sale's Cy Young win, talking about the epic nature of his comeback, which will culminate in a Cy Young victory and what he went through leading up to this season.
I can't wait to talk about Chris Sale's Cy Young victory.
I know. It's really going to hit with the Boston section. So thank you in advance for promoting the hell out of it.
Yeah. I know Jake's excited.
It was Jake's idea, literally.
Yeah. Joseph, any final thoughts today?
Not really, man. We're just kind of waiting for something to happen in the off season.
I feel like for nothing really happening yet, we've had some intriguing conversations.
Some mild percolation.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is. We're fucking killing it right now.
Yeah, we're crushing. We kind of just kept the juices flowing.
I got a final thought.
Oh, hit me with it, brother.
You guys, I don't know. I never knew this, but it just blew my fucking brain, and I think it's true. I mean, it's coming from baseball history nut at Twitter. That Ellie De La Cruz has a twin who is only 5'8". His twin brother, Ellie De La Cruz, is 6'5". His twin brother is 5'8".
That sucks. That sucks so bad for that brother.
And I've seen a picture of them. They do kind of look alike. But one of them is a foot taller than the other.
I mean, I just pulled up the picture now because RDT actually quote tweeted it from 2023. If this is the guy, I guess they kind of look alike. They look closer to a father and a son than they do twin brothers. It's crazy. Dude, the one guy is he's below Ellie's shoulders.
Yeah, and Ellie's not even standing up straight in this photo.
No, he's leaning. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't find it.
That was wild. Joe had a TikTok the other day about this 12-year-old that's what? He's like 6'2", 240. What is he?
Yeah, he's 6 foot 220, I think.
Oh shit.
He's 12.
The Korean Shohei, they're calling him. He's 12-year-old in Korea, and in Korea they're like
the dude that's dropping bombs. The dude is dropping bombs, Joe.
And he's played in some little league tournament in Korea that's like, I guess, a semi big deal. They had it on TV, and he's gone fucking viral in Korea, and they're following him to school and shit with cameras. He's 12 years old. He's like stealing bases. He throws 73 miles per hour, dude.
That's fucking gas, dude.
That's fucking gas.
Yeah, at 12 years
old.
old.
That's like 95, 97.
He's 6 feet tall, 220.
Yeah.
He's a grown-ass man playing against kids. Like, who does that?
No, the clips are hilarious. They zoom in on him at the plate, and then they zoom out to show the scared little pitcher.
Dude, the production of the Koshin, like I've seen clips of that shit. It's like cinematic.
Well, they kind of do. They film them like they're anime characters a lot of times. If you watch some of the clips,
it's like they get the slow pan in. And then like quick zoom out and quick zoom in on another, and you're just like, I fucking feel like I'm on a ride. Like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah,
here we go.
They'll let the camera like swerve, and they keep the same shot, and they zoom in on the reaction. Like the pitcher just gave up a home run. It's like, and the guy,
and then you see the guy's face. He's like, oh,
that's crazy. I learned a lot of shit from Joe's TikTok. I mean, people need to be checking out his content on YouTube and on TikTok. Baseball doesn't exist. I get a lot of my info from Joe's brain. He'll just be telling me shit I didn't know, bringing stories to my attention that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, and then you remind me. I forget I make these fucking TikToks. I'm like, I got no final thoughts. I'm looking back at it like that. We didn't even talk about the Rays Stadium, the big Korean kid, Rich Hill, and the Premier 12. Rich Hill, like 45 years old, playing against 20-year-olds. And
Joe, here's the deal. Anytime, like, we're just gonna do a review of your TikTok. Every Monday when you come on, anytime you make a TikTok, just write down the story, the title, and then hit us with it. Like at the end, it doesn't even have to be at the end. Before we even hit record, you'd be like, we should talk about this, and this. Because you find fascinating stories all the time that don't make it to the podcast, but they absolutely should.
Yeah, I forget about them.
We know.
Because sometimes we make the TikTok and we don't post it for like a week, and it's like totally forget you even fucking made it. Then it comes out. People are like, "Oh, that was crazy." It was like, yeah.
All right. So next Monday we're gonna do Joe's TikTok review.
Best TikTok of the week.
Yep. All right, we'll be back on Thursday, or if anything crazy happens, the emergency pods are always in play. But if nothing crazy happens, then we will see you. Actually, no, Jake's takes.
Just itching for these emergency pods. Let's get some dominoes to fall.
Yeah, that'd be great. Juan Soto to Boston, first one to fall. You already know it. All right, we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Wow.